then?
Yes, please.
At what, 5:36?
Yep.
Wendy, any public appearances?
Nope.
So we'll move to approve the minutes. I'll need a motion to approve, please, and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 2022 minutes.
I can second.
I will second them.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to the treasurer report, December 2021 financial register.
All right. So on the register, you'll see a couple of larger charges, specifically Hill Electric. So this was the last 2021 phase of the LED conversion. So this was doing a lot of the youth area. We were anxious to get that done last year before we were back into in-person programming. And we are back into that now. We've got all the play equipment back out. So it was good that we got it done when we did. I thought that would put us over in that account, but it didn't. So that worked out nicely in several ways. The other thing I would point out is under utilities. So that's account 365. You'll see two charges here from MG&E. I don't know why they bill the way they do, but we get two charges in December and none in January. It's consistent year to year. So it's just, it ends up okay for the whole year, but it looks a little bit weird on the finance reports. There are also a couple of odd things in lost paid found items in account 390. So there is a series of refunds here, and these are people that we sent refund checks to that did not cash them. So this is the finance department trying to kind of clean that up. I believe we are offering to recut the checks for the patrons if they get back to us. Otherwise, you know, I don't love the way they do this because these are from 2017, 18, and 19. So those finance reports that were audited said that we had paid them, and then we really hadn't. So they sort of mess things up, but it's not a huge amount of money. So I think it's better for the finance department to actually true that up than to just leave it. So I'm hopeful. We didn't see any of these for like the first 6 years that we were open. We did them all in 1 year, so it's getting a little bit better. But that's what that is. Then let's move to the overview. Again, I wanted to point out just utilities 365. So we've got a 0 in January and a double bill in December. That's fine. You'll see that we have saved quite a bit of money this year. If you look at the fund balance, what we're going to put into fund balance, we're at 174,000. This is not audited. So the auditors, I believe, are here this week over at the City Hall. So there may be some changes here. We got a couple of things from them, minor things, but nothing major. So I don't think there's going to be any enormous changes, but there might still be a few. We will approve the final audited version of this either in April or May. So we'll know exactly where we land. But I think things came out pretty well for us. There's nothing in here that concerns me. It's more money than I expected to have left over. I think that's in large part due to, you know, limited services for part of the year. We weren't doing performers for kids, that kind of thing. So just things that we would normally be doing that we weren't. Does anybody have questions on either the register or the overview? Oh, wait, I wanted to point out one more thing because everybody should get a prize for this that orders books for the library. If you look in 387, so that's our collections account. We had 182,000 to spend. We try to get as close to that as we can. We had $52.73 left over. That's excellent.
Nice.
I feel like that's the one account every year that we want to definitely either spend exactly or spend a little bit over, because I don't want ever anybody to say like, we don't need that much money for books. We do. We absolutely do. We spend it. And it was kind of a challenging year for it because things were really slowed down for part of it. So congratulations to all the staff that worked on that. All right. If no questions, we can vote on this. Gosh, is back.
Okay, so same time. Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I'm glad to see you again.
So where are we?
Okay. I think we need a motion and a second to approve the finance report and the register and overview.
Okay, so we will need a motion to do that, please.
I can motion to approve those.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, can we have a vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to unfinished business, which we don't have any.
Nope.
New business, policy reviews, electronic services.
Excellent. This is Lisa.
Hello. All right. So just for all these policies, they have the old approval date. So once these are approved, that will change. So that is going to be consistent for all of these. So the first policy I have is going to be our 3D printer policy. This covers the 3D printing services we offer to patrons. And this we've actually been offering even through curbside when we're closed. So this has been a really great service and the policy has covered it well so far. So I don't have any changes. Does anyone have any questions?
And we do need to approve these individually.
So we need a motion to approve the 3D printer policy.
Ben, it's your turn.
Sorry, I was clicking through the agenda and I lost my place again. Too many tabs open.
3D printer policy.
All
We
right.
need a motion to approve.
All right, I will motion to approve our 3D printer policy as it stands.
And I'll second that.
All
Any
right.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 2, under electronic services, computer internet use policy.
All right, so similarly, computer and internet use policy, just like it sounds, it covers all the computers and internet use in the library. Again, this one has been working well for us so far.
Mhm.
We don't have any changes. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Then we need a motion to approve.
I can motion to approve that one.
I can second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion to approve the computer internet use policy passes. Number 3, under electronic services, meeting room policy.
All right, so meeting room policy. This one, we do have a few changes in here. So this one covers our 2 large spaces in the library, the meeting room and the conference room that patrons can reserve and use. The first change that we have is under number 2, the description of the rooms. So previously it listed that it could accommodate up to 145 people seated auditorium style. That hasn't really been a realistic number in our experience. It really gets crowded and we want to really make sure we kind of accurately represent expectations on the size of this room for people. And so we've changed that limit to be at 75 people, and that is a general number, not necessarily auditorium style or with tables. It's more of a realistic.
What we can
limit.
handle.
Yes.
Um, I think the 145 number comes from how many chairs we own. And I don't know how that exactly made this policy, but I don't think it should have. When we have that many people, as Lisa said, like they expect to be able to set up tables and then sit at them, and they absolutely cannot. We also really can't handle parking for 145 people. So we have been at 50 during the pandemic. This will take us to 75, hopefully for good.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next change that we have comes under 4, so application cancellation. First bullet point. We previously had a minimum of 4 people per room, and we're updating that to 6. So we currently have study rooms that accommodate even up to 6 people. So this is more to help have people reserve these rooms for larger meetings and have those study spaces for these smaller groups.
I would throw in that I think we have people that want to use our spaces every day for tutoring,
Yes.
and they will tutor maybe 2 kids and think that that is close enough, or they'll have someone on Zoom and they think that that counts, even though it's not an in-person. Or we've had a couple, I think, of bankers trying to do that. So they're setting up different meetings, but it's not not requiring a space of that size. So we really want to keep these set aside for larger groups.
Correct, yeah. Mhm.
Wendy, have you considered going to 10 people? 6 still seems like a small number for a large meeting room.
Conference room is not that large, so I think
that
it
the
makes
one-
sense.
We used to meet in?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay,
so that only seats really,
Right.
you can squeeze 12 at the table. Yeah, so I think it makes sense.
okay.
And I think if the meeting room is not being used and the conference room is full, I don't want to turn away a smaller group. So yeah, I think we'll try 6 and see how it goes.
Mhm. Trying to balance between the conference room and the meeting
Yeah.
room for that minimum. Mhm. And then there's one more change to this policy. It's under, well, it's a little bit of 2. So under use of facilities, so item 6. So Anne helpfully pointed out at the beginning before this meeting was the 4th bullet point really belongs under the 3rd. So we responsibility for leaving the room in the condition it was found. So we will take this and like make it a sub bullet as part of that 3rd bullet, just further clarification of that point. And then there was a space that was missing in the sentence, like the first sentence of this. So it was just like the bins period, the user without a space. So that is the other change that we have there.
Further discussion? Can we have a motion to approve and second the meeting room policy?
I'll make a motion to approve the policy.
I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries to approve the meeting room policy. Number 4 under electronic services. Lisa, we're back to you with social media policy.
Great, yes. So social media policy covers our social media platforms at the library. This one is really tied in with the city. It's kind of why it's a shorter policy. It's much smaller. We have to comply with the city's policy in this respect. So we use it primarily as a marketing platform, and that's kind of what this policy states, and that we are not responsible for any of the content anyone else would post. So there are no changes as it stands. Are there any questions?
If there is no further discussion, we need a motion to approve and second the social media policy, please.
I will motion to approve the social media policy.
And I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries to approve the social media policy. And under electronic services, number 5, the wireless access policy.
Perfect. All right, this is my last policy for you all this time. So this is our wireless access policy. This includes all the wireless internet inside and outside of the library. So the one change we have here is actually in connection with our new printing service we have at the library. So patrons are now able to print through our website. They can send items to the printers. So we took out the line at the end that says printing is not available via the library's wireless network because we thought it would be confusing for patrons. It kind of doesn't go with what our new service is. While it's technically not through our internet, we thought taking it out would help clarify that for patrons.
Yes, we're real excited about this one. So you can send your print jobs from home. You can send them in the library on your own device. This is a big upgrade for us.
Any further discussion? Then I'll need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the wireless access policy.
And I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve the wireless access policy. Thank you, Lisa. We're going to go to access services. Number 1, circulation policy. Is that you, Phil?
That's me, yeah.
Okay,
All right. So yeah, the circulation policy is, I feel like this is the one that always gets updated at these meetings that I have, but it kind of governs getting a library card, using items, and kind of everything in between here. So it tends to be the large kind of substantive one that we have here. And there's two changes that we had put into this policy. The first one that we had put in was trying to close kind of a loophole or kind of an issue that we have when we're signing people up for library cards. One of the issues that we bump into is trying to get people, when they come in to sign up for a library card, is trying to make sure that they have all the things that they need to sign up for a library card. The South Central Library System requires it requires photo ID, it requires proof of address to get a full library card. And we added this in here to try to meet people in the middle a little bit, where if people don't have that proof of current address with them, but they do have a photo ID, we are able to give them a library card on the spot. It's a limited card, so it has a smaller number of items that can be checked out, a smaller number of fines that can be accrued on it while it still functions and everything like that. But we changed a little bit of the wording here under eligible card holders to kind of reflect that process here. This is something that's done at other libraries in the area, so it's certainly something that we're the South Central Library System allows and everything like that. So, but personally, one of the things that always is tough is when you're signing people up for library cards is that you have to turn them away entirely, and they're not able to get a library card the day that they're there. This helps kind of shore that up. It gives a third option that you can go through here for that. The other change that we had was under limitations on borrowing. This is a little bit more of just clarification, honestly. We used to kind of list out specifically the second to last bullet point there talks about the right to refuse loaning of specific items if people don't follow the policies that we have. And rather than listing them individually, we thought it would be more helpful to change that to just say technology items, so that it covers phone chargers, covers their laptops, and would cover anything else we would add in the future that way too. So it's a little bit more universal, a little bit easier to cover it that way. But otherwise, those were the two changes that we had to this policy.
any questions?
I had two questions. The first one is on page 26, and it's just underneath the improved language, starting with patrons under the age of 16. It says, including any late fees.
Oh, good catch.
Thanks.
Boy, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I didn't either.
I
We don't have those anymore. That's awesome. We can take that out.
Okay, so good.
that
So
mean-
I'm
Right? I mean,
Is there
although
any
there
reason
are
to
other
think that-
libraries that charge them still.
Right.
One. We may need to leave this in until all South Central libraries are fine free.
okay.
That's the only thing I could think of, because it does.
Yeah.
They're
think about
also
that.
signing up for anything that exists on a previous card. They're coming in to get like a replacement card, or if they move to Fitchburg and sign up
Right.
that way, we could sometimes bump into that.
Right. And if
but
they
it's-
check it out here, we still don't charge fines, but they could easily take their card and check out at Oregon, I think is the one that's close to us that's still charging.
I think so, yeah.
And they would still have to be responsible for that. So I guess we better leave it in. Oh, but good catching.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. I didn't know that was there.
Because I didn't make that decision before right now.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that conversation actually satisfies the second one, because
Okay.
the other one I had was right above Lucky Day collections. I didn't realize that Oregon was still charging for overdue fines. And there we talk about the use of a senior card, and that does not accrue overdue fines at any SCLS library. So I guess
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there were some that still were charging.
I think Oregon might be the last one in Dane County, but there are certainly a lot of them outside of Dane County that I think are still charging.
Good to know. Thank you.
So we're not as close to being completely fine free as the system as we would like.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Sure.
Any other clarifications? Then I will need a motion to approve the circulation policy, please.
So motioned?
And I'll second.
Thank you, Ben and Ann. All in favor of approving the circulation policy, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. The circulation policy is approved. On to number 2, under Access Services, Community Bulletin Board Policy. Phil?
Yeah, the second one here we have is quite a bit smaller than the CERT policy, but it covers our community bulletin boards, kind of what is allowed on them and how we prioritize what's posted there. We obviously prioritize internal stuff first. We kind of take steps to make sure that this isn't used as kind of like a sale board kind of thing, so it isn't used as something of not to be rude about it, but like publicized garage sales or something like that. That there's this sort of stuff with an instructional kind of bend to it, or with a educational kind of content to it. So we didn't have any changes to this one. It's good to be using the bulletin boards again now.
Yeah.
It's been a little while, but yeah, otherwise we didn't have any changes.
Thank you. Any questions, clarifications? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the Community Bulletin Board Policy, please.
I'll make the motion to approve the bulletin board policy.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries for the Community Bulletin Board Policy. Number 3, laptop checkout policy. Back to you, Phil.
All right, yeah, the laptop checkout policy, we have kind of specific policies, and this one's basically because of the dollar amount kind of associated with the laptops. Basically, it just kind of walks through the process of what people need to check one out. We don't require a library card from people to check one out, but we do a couple of extra steps to go through if they want to use one while they're here in the building, and generally covers it's a pretty similar coverage to like the wireless access policy or the internet use policy, where it kind of talks about appropriate use of them and everything like that. So this one we also didn't have any changes.
Clarifications, anyone? If not, may I please have a motion to approve the laptop checkout policy?
I will motion to approve the policy.
Thank you,
I'll
Brock.
second.
Thank you, Anne. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, privacy of library records and library use policy.
All right, so this is a big one, but most of what's in here, honestly, is just kind of listing off what's as part of the Wisconsin legal statutes that are in here. It goes over specifically what we need to release information, what we need for people to access information from their account or from other accounts. It specifically kind of parses out what parents need to do, or the rights that parents have up until certain ages, and when our younger patrons hit the age where they have a little bit more legal protection on their records and stuff like that. It specifically lists some steps that we take if we ever get requests from law enforcement for account information or borrowing information. We kind of go through that, and this stuff, there's obviously a lot of the individual Wisconsin statutes that are referenced in here. We don't have any changes to it, but yeah, this one's always kind of a lot to read, but it's good to have it here. So it's something that when we need it. So.
Anything for clarification? If not, we need a motion to approve the privacy of library records and library use policy, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, number 5, under access services, theft of library materials policy. Bill?
Yeah, excellent. So this is the last one that we have, and this one is quite literally just the Wisconsin state statute covering theft of library material. It goes through the specifics of, yes, walking past one of the security gates with something, if you don't make it outside, is still considered theft and so forth. But it is just basically a direct copy of the Wisconsin legal statutes. And because of that, we didn't have any changes to it. So
Wendy, does anyone ever try to steal a library book? Because we let them use it anyway. Why steal it?
If your card is blocked because you have taken so many things out and you've lost them,
Okay,
it's possible. If you want a Roku, but you don't want it to go on your card and be lost later, that kind of thing.
gotcha.
So no, it doesn't happen very often, but the chance is there.
Okay. We need a motion.
Occasionally-
Is there any questions?
Oh, I was also going to say, occasionally, sometimes people will want to borrow something that they're not comfortable having a record of them borrowing.
Yeah.
Whether it's maybe a book that may be taboo or something. So there's other places where people borrow stuff that it's more fear of fear of it being on the record than actually wanting to steal it or trying to get over one from the library.
Interesting, thank you. Any clarifications then? If not, we need a motion to approve and second, please, the theft of library materials policy.
Motion to approve the policy regarding theft of library materials.
I will second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to, let's see, what's the main, new business? Letter B, the resolution R 18-22.
Yes, I'm gonna let Phil and Lisa go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
thanks,
both.
everybody.
thank you.
I'll see you next time. Okay, so this resolution we've talked about this a little bit at the last couple of meetings, but this is the ARPA TID funding that is available. So there's about, I think, $3 million from the American Rescue Plan Act that was given to the city, and about $3 million is coming out of a tax increment district that is closing over by Target and Hy-Vee. That's also about $3 million. So there's about $6 million that needs to be used for one-time projects. So this is not something we want to spend on ongoing costs. If we bought, or if we decided to put this into like staffing, then we would have to come up with that money in the next year's budget to cover it. And finance does not approve of that. So the mayor has proposed a package, and some of the alders have made amendments. The library only shows up in it twice, but one of them is a big way. So it's the replacement of the chiller. So there's one of the projects that's listed is $500,000 for, I think, adding permanent glass enclosures, which I think they're doing over at City Hall. That's not a library project, but the library chiller is also in that $500,000. The other place that we stand to benefit is purchasing COVID supplies. So I think masks and wipes and hand sanitizer would be reimbursed up to a certain point. The reason this is coming to the library board, so you'll see that it's gone to every committee, board member, commission, just because the mayor really wanted everybody to have a chance to say if there was something that they wanted to add to it. And then how that should work is that Jay, as our council member representative, should take our thoughts back to the council. I feel like we're getting a lot out of this. And I would hesitate to add any other requests to it. The chiller is an enormous expense, and the city, if they didn't put it here, would have to find that somewhere else. So I think this is a smart move, but I would not suggest adding anything to it. So I think we can approve it as is, and then it will go back to the council. I think next Tuesday, and there will be a public hearing about it, and then they will go through all of the amendments that people have added, and they'll come out with a final product. But there were no amendments to remove the library chiller project, so that should stay. So if everybody's comfortable with that, we would just vote to approve. Any questions that I can answer? This is kind of an odd one. We don't see these very often.
Wendy,
And yeah,
I'm sorry, I may have zoned out for a minute, but did you say how much the chiller is to replace?
they're guessing $400,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's huge. It's huge.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So very happy to have it included. And it's included, kind of on behalf of the library and Public Works. As I've said before, this will be a Public Works project. I do think because the state statute says that the library board has control over the library building, even though it's owned by the city. And this has come up once in our past. So we had a mayor at one point that wanted to put solar on the building, but use a third-party investor. And then was obligating either the city or the library to pay it off in 5 years, which we didn't feel comfortable with at the time. So the library board did decline that. And then we were able to put solar on the building like 2 years later with our own funding. So it does happen every now and again. But what I think will be the case here is that when bids will go out, we've already engaged an engineer to design a new system. And that'll be a bid packet that will be released for public bids. And then the bids will be opened, I think, by the engineer and Public Works. They'll choose a contract to award. And then I think that will come to the library board so that you can approve it. I don't think we'll have an option to say, I don't like where that pipe is going, or I don't know, like the looks of that component. I think it's going to be, we want the package, but just to cover all the bases with the statute, that the library board has seen it and is aware of what's happening to the building. So you'll see something about this again. I think currently we are looking at it installing in April of 2023, which is a little bit dicey because we're gonna have to get through summer and another winter, and chances of us having a light winter again are not great. There is talks of having to put in a temporary boiler. I don't know exactly what that would entail. I think they had an option to install in December, and I think with getting things, it just wasn't possible. So Kevin is in all the meetings about this, so he's got a lot of information. I think he's representing us well. Bill Balke from Public Works has been great to work with, and is moving this right along in a way that we wouldn't know how to do without them. So I'm very happy with how it's going, but you'll see something about this again, but I think right now it's important that we approve.
Any further discussion, clarification? If not, I need a motion to approve the resolution R18-22.
So moved.
I can't second, guys. I can't. So one of you has to. And
I'll second.
Not the rule. Thank you. All in favor of approving the resolution R18-22, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution R18-22 passes. Choosing the nominating committee. Wendy.
All right, so we will need to appoint new officers for our May meeting. We will have some new board members then. So both Stephen and Chris will be off of the board. April will be their last meeting. So we'll have a couple of new people, but we will need to appoint a president, a vice president, and a treasurer, right, Ben? Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So I think we need 3 people on the nominating committee. And basically, you're just trying to talk people into taking seats or taking them yourselves, either way. So we need 3 volunteers.
Can we volunteer other people?
I don't think so.
Okay, I will serve on the nominating committee.
Thank you.
I will too.
Thank you.
I think Brock's mic is not working.
Sorry, I can also.
Thank you.
It's
Okay, so
basically just asking people to do the job.
it is generally best not to ask someone who is brand new to fill a position. If they've never been to a board meeting, it's sort of a lot to take on. So it should probably be existing board members. The president runs the meetings. The president will also occasionally get an email from me about and the vice president, depending on what it is, but about a patron that's being especially a problem. If a patron, I think, is going to reach out to the board because they don't like something that's happening. That doesn't happen all that often, but it does sometimes. Usually doesn't really go anywhere. And treasurer is needed to approve any purchase that we're making between $5,000 and $25,000. And we have, thanks to the pandemic, been able to do that over email almost exclusively. So that is basically just saying I approve this purchase as the treasurer of the board. on an email. Occasionally, it's not often. Well, Ben might disagree with me. Lately we've been end of year tends to be some bigger ones, but it's not a constant thing. Oh, I can't hear you, Ben.
Yeah, it's the being a treasurer isn't like a tremendous burden. It's like you say, it's mostly typing "I approve"
Yes, the magic words
into emails about a couple times a month.
Yes. Yep. Excellent. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Item number 7 on the agenda is President's Report, and Stephen did not leave anything for me to discuss with you guys. So happy St. Patrick's Day, stay safe, and thank you for coming tonight.
Yes.
We will move to the Library Director Report, number 8.
Okay. So just a couple updates. We are back to doing programming in person, both for kids and for adults. I think it's been really nice to see increased traffic and to see kids again. You know, we've got kids who don't remember the library because of the pandemic. We're doing all of the programming up in the meeting room so that we have more room to space out. And obviously families have been really good about kind of spacing themselves out at different tables for craft programs. I think the most we've had for story time is 30, which is kind of a nice way to ease into it. You know, we were doing 70, 80 before the pandemic. So I'm sure we'll get there again someday, but it's kind of nice to ease into it. And I think we'll probably keep programming in the meeting room probably through April, maybe May. We'll see how things go, both with COVID numbers and with attendance numbers. We also put all of the play items back out in the children's area. So the train table, the Lego table, the light table, iPad station. We got 2 fantastic new AWE computers from the Friends. And so those are out. The coin vortex, I don't know who's familiar with coin vortex, but we have a little thing where you put 2 years of not hearing that means that it makes you crazy every time it happens. It's very loud and it lasts forever, but I am hopeful in 2 months we will once again not hear it at all. But it's been a little bit of a transition for the staff. Mask mandate expired. I think we probably started with 75% of patrons still wearing masks. I think we're probably down to 50 right now. I think the staff are very relieved to not be enforcing it anymore. There was a lot of arguing with people that nobody really wanted to do. So, I mean, most of the staff are still wearing them. Certainly at the desks they are. Getting a little more comfortable with not wearing them in the back room. But numbers are not going the way we want them to. So who knows how long that will last. But that seems to be going well. The council did approve attending meetings via Zoom through June. I get the sense that the mayor would really like us to move back into in-person meetings. And I called Jeremy at Fact TV to talk to him about that. I think we've got some work to do. I would like us to go back to meeting in the meeting room instead of the conference room so we can spread out a little bit more. And I think we've got some work to do on audio systems in that room. So I think we're just going to stick with Zoom through June and get some of that worked on. And then I would expect to, unless things change, I would expect to probably start heading back to in-person meetings in July. And that is all I have for the director's report.
Thank you. Number 9, committee reports.
All right, I don't have anything for strategic planning. Facilities, we are working again with Hill Electric to kind of clean up the LEDs. So we've got some closets and stairways and kind of out of the way places that didn't get converted before. So this is kind of a nook and cranny part of the project. And they're going to break it up into like 3 or 4 payments, kind of smaller projects in different areas of the building. And then I think another $7,000 and we should be done with the whole building, which would be great. That'll be a big, huge check mark off of our list. Personnel, we have a new outreach librarian. Hey, her name is Minda. She's coming to us from the Jefferson Library. She's been doing outreach there. She worked at Middleton. Ironically, she worked at Middleton with Liz right before the pandemic. She was a sub there, so they worked together briefly. Liz is our first outreach librarian. So I think that they can probably share some information. She's starting on the 31st. So we are going to get her trained in the building. We're going to start talking about outreach projects. Part of, I think, what she'll start with, I'm kind of hoping to get 3 different locations in town. So Jamestown, Leopold, and then the new town of Madison. You know, we're absorbing not quite half of the town of Madison. That happens officially in October, but the city is working real hard on reaching out to the residents in that area so that they know that they're going to be Fitchburg residents and what services we can offer. So I think it's a very nice way for Minda to kind of join in that group to do some programming over the summer. And then I think we'll have an established place that we can continue with outreach. So that's very exciting. I'm very happy to have her. I think she's been doing an amazing job. We also promoted 2 shelvers. We recently had 2 LA1 positions open up. One of them is someone transferring over to a full-time job at the city. And one of them is someone who didn't show up for work all of last week. So we had 2 shelvers that were interested in both of those positions. So we promoted them yesterday. They'll start next Monday. And now we are short 2 more shelvers. We posted shelvers for a month. We got 3 applicants. We hired 1. It's not good. Hiring shelvers is not good right now. We pay $9.25 an hour, which is terrible. You can probably go get 12 other jobs tomorrow that pay more than that. So I am planning to meet with Chad Brooklyn, the city administrator. I've talked to him about this already. Sarah Olson from Human Resources and Misty Dodge from Finance to talk about how we can increase that as soon as possible. We can't not have shelvers. We will get completely backed up. So we have it posted right now. We're gonna keep it open as like a rolling job posting, and we will interview as we get applicants in hopes. I mean, we have 5 positions open right now, so it's a lot. I think everybody in the building will probably be doing some shelving over the next couple of months until we can get some people hired. But I think if we could get that up to, I don't know, $11, $12, $13 an hour. And if we could, my overall goal is for next year to be able to get them out of the seasonal LTE pay scale and onto the regular pay scale, which would give them paid time off. It would give them access to more regular raises because they're on the LTE seasonal schedule. They don't get cost of living increases. They get, I think, a quarter a year for 4 years, and then you're just out of potential for increases. And we don't have a lot of people that stay in the job for 5 years, but we've had several. So it feels unfair to me how they're classified. They're not seasonal. They're not LTE. I don't think they should ever have been there. So we're working on kind of 2 different projects there to get an immediate increase to help with hiring, and then to bump the position up overall. So just so you know that that's happening. And I think that's everything for personnel. Any questions on that?
No, I hope you're successful in getting
Me
that.
too.
That's
Me too.
crazy.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, honestly, to post a job at $9.25.
I read in the last week that Target is starting people at $20 to $25 an hour. So how can you be expected to hire anyone at
No.
$9 an hour when you can go
No.
work at Target for
I
20?
thought Target was 16 and I still can't meet that. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know how we keep up.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Announcements, next library board meeting, Wednesday, April 20th at 5:30 via Zoom. And I will need a motion to adjourn.
I will motion to adjourn.
Oh, second.
Excellent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we are finished. We are adjourned.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank-
all for
Nice
coming.
job, Toby.